Well, welcome to the last and final unit of this semester biology. Can you believe it? Alright, so we're talking about evolution. This is going to be a quick, short kind of an intro to evolution, and then I'll get into more a little bit about the two sections that you guys will be seeing in your lesson. So first take a look at my lovely picture of evolution, okay? You guys may not remember back when cell phones looked like that, maybe even that or that, because now we look like that. So it's kind of interesting. Evolution. Things change over time. So let's get to a couple of things that we're going to talk about today. So obviously, drum roll please, what are we starting? Evolution! Wah, 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 wah. Some people love to talk about evolution. Some people really do not like to talk about evolution. And really, my job throughout this unit is to really make you think. I want you guys to go and research some things for yourself. I will put out the theories there, but it's up to you guys to really educate yourselves and decide what you believe, okay? Because evolution, there is a lot of facts involved, but there's a lot of theories involved. And I want you guys to make that decision on what your, strong beliefs, whether it has to do with your religion and faith, or just what you've learned in the past at schools. I want you guys to make that choice of where you go with this topic, because it can be kind of controversial. All right, so first things, you guys know I always have to bring some humor into everything, right? So anyways, I'm going to show you just a couple of videos I found on evolution. The first one deals with one of our favorites, good old Homer Simpson. Okay, watch this. Alright, so there's Homer starting as bacteria all the way to what he is now. So kind of a little funny take on evolution. Now, one that basically has nothing to do with evolution in the scientific theory, but I wanted to show you guys a different form of evolution. This was a great video that maybe you guys have seen on YouTube. It has a ton of hits, but we won't watch the whole thing, but you'll get the gist. It's evolution in dance.
Evolution of dance.
Okay, we'll end on that. So if you guys want to watch the rest of that, just go to YouTube and click on Evolution of Dance. It's pretty funny. You can watch the last 3 minutes. So, okay, you guys know I like to bring some humor into it. But evolution is a great subject to talk about when we think about the big picture. Of course, I bring in this lovely Lego. I like it. You start from here and you end up here. But where did we come from? That's always kind of the big picture that people are thinking about when they talk about evolution. It's not so much the details of evolution, which we'll get into, but everyone's like, where did we come from? And I want to tell you guys that it's not just about where did we come from. Evolution is kind of how we've come to just where we are right now, not necessarily where we've come from. We all have our different beliefs on that, and I don't want you to waver on those, okay? I have my beliefs, everyone has their beliefs. I don't want the fact that we're talking about evolution to make you think that you can't believe in God and where we've come from now, okay? So I want you guys to understand that. And maybe you don't have any belief system, and that's fine, but I know that again kind of tends to cross lines in some people. So I want you guys to kind of keep an open mind that it doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's all about where we come from. It's kind of about where we are right now. So here's where I really want you guys to do some searching for yourself. There are so many different great websites out there that you can actually search some of the scientific theories, some of the scientific findings of evolution, and I'm not going to say against, but kind of on the creation side versus the Darwin side, okay? But I want you guys to do some searching for yourselves. So anyways, let's talk about a theory, and I want you guys to know that in kind of half of the first section of the evolution, it really talks about a lot of just the findings of the different scientists and actually not even all scientists. I mean, I think it's great that there's so many different people that have been thrown in the mix of what they've found on evolution, but nonetheless, you're going to see a lot of that. There's going to be 2 or 3 pages worth of just people's findings and thoughts and theories. So let's talk about what a theory is. Let's refresh your memory because you might have forgotten what a theory is. So a set of statements or principles devised to explain a group of facts or phenomena, especially one that has been repeatedly tested or is widely accepted and can be used to make predictions about natural phenomena. An assumption based on limited information or knowledge, a conjecture. So a theory is not always based on facts. Now it is a lot of times based on tested kind of experiments, things that have been, it's not like there's this wild guess, okay? A theory is getting close to scientific facts, and it's based on some scientific facts, but it's not, hey, set in stone, this is that. So I want you guys to remember that there are many different theories out there, and that's why I want you guys to educate yourselves and figure out what is best for, what do you think went on. So again, there's a lot of things that are based on some scientific research, but it's not all set in stone facts, okay? And I guarantee there'll probably be a lot of scientists that would disagree with what I just said there. But hey, I'm the teacher of this class. All right, so let's talk a little bit about evolution, macro versus micro. And this is kind of the brief definition of the macro evolution versus micro. Macro, I would think of macro being large, on a big scale, okay? So we talk about, let's go from a chicken to a dinosaur. This massive, huge amounts of evolution that occur, whether it's in a short time period or a long time period. Macroevolution are these large changes in things. Microevolution can be more of like these minute changes that come through time. So you have kind of the wolf here that has micro-evolved into different species of dogs, okay? Microevolution can take place over a long period of time or a shorter period of time as well. But you see smaller changes, okay? Not these huge drastic changes. So sometimes people believe only in macroevolution, sometimes people only believe in microevolution, sometimes there's a combination of both, okay? So just to give you those definitions. Now Darwin, most of you guys know Darwin is obviously known for his evolutionary thoughts and findings, okay? So I'm going to give you some of his thoughts and what he found. And these 4 are very widely known. So he came up with adaptation, that basically all organisms adapt to their environments. Okay? Very true. Just as we as humans adapt to our environment depending on where we live. If we live, near the equator, where, our skin is typically darker because it has to withstand the sun. We don't wear as many clothes because it's very hot, and different things like that, okay? Variation, by the way, and then you have us who live in Colorado, who I'm always wearing my coat, it seems like. No, just kidding. I love summer times, but I'm getting cold. Can you tell? Variation. All organisms are variable in their traits, okay? There's another thing that he came up with. All organisms are variable in their traits. Their traits aren't identical, not boom, boom, boom. The next one was over-reproduction. That basically all organisms tend to reproduce beyond their environment's capacities to support them. So typically when you have some kind of an organism that's going to over-reproduce, you have something that happens, whether some kind of natural phenomena occurs to lower that rate or lower the amount of that organism, but something's going to happen when that takes place, and we'll talk about that in the next section. And then the last thing was natural selection. Since not all organisms are equally well adapted to their environments, some will survive and reproduce better than others, also known as survival of the fittest. So this one has been around for a long time. All of these have, but ultimately we hear a lot about survival of the fittest. If some species is, basically not as fit as something else, like take for instance maybe the coloration of some species of organism makes it stand out a little bit more to the point where they are more vulnerable to being eaten by other creatures, then basically that species could die out, and the survival of the fittest, meaning the fittest one that didn't get eaten, would survive, hello, and flourish. Okay, makes sense. You'll see some pictures. Here's a good example. The mechanism for changing species was the process of natural selection. So you have these birds and they're like, yum, green beetles, they're our favorite. So they start eating all the green beetles, okay? And guess what's going to happen? They keep eating all the green beetles. Well, guess what? Those little orangey, reddish, brown beetles start to flourish because they're not being eaten. Yet the green beetles are having a hard time keeping up with that population. So obviously generations later, and look what you have. The green beetles have been selected against, and brown beetles have flourished, okay? So obviously the these birds will have to start eating the brown beetles at some point, but that is part of a kind of survival of the fittest or natural selection in a nutshell. All right, so this will conclude kind of our brief introduction to evolution. Again, fight ignorance, educate yourself. If you guys don't know a lot about evolution, definitely, first of all, read up on your lesson. That's going to give you a lot of different perspectives, but go and do some of your own research. Find out what you think, okay? I want you guys to be very proactive in your own opinions, okay? So this is your education. Do what you need to do with it, and I will be back for more of section 1.